All right, so this is probably going to be the last episode in our series about inspections. We just got the report. We're going to review it all together, and we're going to answer some of the most common questions that we get. So join us for the ride.
The first one, so Rebecca, what surprised you about the inspection of your own house?
Surprises. Were there any surprises? Honestly, not really. I mean, the home was built in 1925, and I think when Al and I tour home, we've done so many home inspections at this point. When we're touring homes with clients and also for ourselves, we're looking, at our semi-trained eyes with structure, the roof, the foundation, so on and so forth. So we knew a lot of what was happening with this home prior to us doing the home inspection. If there were any surprises, I think one of the biggest ones would have been that the water supply line was almost non-existent. So that's definitely going to have to be something that's replaced. We have gone through a water line replacement before, so we're pretty informed. So it wasn't a catastrophic surprise, but I think that was definitely. That is really dependent on how much they have to excavate from the street side of the water line to the home. When we did it last time, it was, I would say, right under $10,000 all in for the job, because we had to have a plumber, an excavator, and the city of Newton come in and replace the water line. So I think that was the biggest surprise, if I was just thinking off the top of my head about the report.
And I will take blame for that because I did not notice that. It was hidden underneath the staircase.
Yeah, no, I don't think a lot of people would have caught that. I mean, that's the beauty of having a home inspection, is they're going to really get in there. Thank you, Morgan, for doing that. But I mean, that's the biggest surprise, I would say. So it wasn't that bad. It was pretty good.
There was also that the vent pipe above the oil tank, there was a crack on that. I think that surprised me as well because I didn't really notice that when I was scanning through everything. So those are definitely two things that surprised me. It was all you guys' first time seeing it, but did anything surprise you guys, it being $1 million house in Newton?
I mean, not really. Those things come up with every house, and it's one of those things where, like you guys said, you went into it knowing a lot of what had already come up during the inspection, and it's mainly there to find things that we weren't aware of, right? And we found a few, but luckily it wasn't anything too big, and you were able to handle it.
No, I was surprised by this big notch in the main beam just for the Kinect system. So I don't think that it was necessary, and it was, for me, it was like scary. But then, the beam was super wide, and like it's super tall. I mean, I actually never seen this size of the beam, and so I thought, yeah, maybe that's would be okay in this case.
These older homes, real wood.
Alan,
So in addition to just a home inspection, which what we just saw, what other things can you do to learn about your home before you purchase?
So you can obviously hire additional contractors, specialty people to come and take a look at the house. Just by chance, our electrician was coming by the house that same day. So we asked him what it would cost to fix a double top breaker and to switch over a GFCI outlet. He said that he would charge $295 to come to the house, and then it's just cost materials to fix each of those issues. They were very minimal. I think GFCI, he said it would be about like $70 additional. So it wasn't that bad. In this particular case, I think the only other inspector I would potentially hire would be to do like a sewer scan. The sewer scan is a great topic because not a lot of people do it. I would almost trade my home inspection for a sewer scan because there's a lot of underlying problems that could happen in there. Maybe in this case, less issue because we will potentially replace that water line, so we will excavate the front yard anyways, so we can do the sewer line at the same time if there were an issue in there. But I think overall, I don't think we're going to hire anyone else. Could have someone take a look at that crack by the window, but I'm probably going to end up doing like a window well there anyway, so not a huge problem for us.
I think the big thing to note, too, of that is home inspectors are there to inform you at the house, any items that may need to have work. Their job is not to give you quotes on how to fix these things or even further information. So they're not plumbers. They're not electricians. They're there to inform you and then for you to do potentially for some further research by hiring the professionals that do those jobs. So that's a natural step sometimes in the inspection process.
Yeah, I could hire a contractor for every little thing to find the prices of everything, but I think we know a lot of the prices, haven't done this a while. But yeah, that is an option.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that too, because I just want to preface this, we're not home inspectors, but over 150 home inspections, we've been able to learn things about houses. We do it pretty much every day. We're able to, during the showings, point out certain things and really get you prepared for an offer. So that way, during the inspection, a lot of these things, it's not your first time noticing them because there will always be a ton. And it's about focusing on the unexpected or the major ticket items. So
one of the great things about this home inspection is, collectively at this table, we've probably done, 300-400 inspections. And I think all of us can say that we all learned something. I know I certainly did. And that can be really said for every home inspection. We're always constantly learning. Every house is different and has its own set of certain circumstances, to put it nicely. And this one fit the bill there.
Yeah, so you like the sewer inspection, Alan. Does anybody else have any other inspections?
Sometimes, all right, so we've had to have structural engineers come out in some cases if there's a question on the integrity of a structure, just to inform the client to make sure that they're comfortable with any repairs that may be coming down the pipeline. Electricians, plumbers, they're not required for every purchase, but sometimes we do have to have those people come and take a second look. And the great news is we all have plenty of people we can just call and get that stuff done for our clients.
I mean, if I cost you more money to have more professionals,
For sure.
things,
Yeah, they did work for free.
You can inspect until the sun goes down, but the regular inspector should be enough. I don't think he recommended any additional inspections except for maybe the sewer scan.
kind of like going to the doctor. You could do every test under the sun. It's going to cost a lot of money. Is it needed? Probably not.
So, like, you got this whole 40-page list with all these punch items. What in here can you negotiate?
Yeah, so usually we'll put it into three categories: the health, the structure, and the systems. So in yours, asbestos came up as a health concern. The structural components, there were some cracks in the foundation and some of the support beams.
Any system issues?
Well, we couldn't test the heating system because there was no oil in the tank. So obviously you want to check to make sure that that's functioning before closing.
Yeah, that'd be expensive. Yep. What can we negotiate in here?
Yeah, so in your case, with the water pipe being completely deteriorated, I would probably have negotiated for that because you guys spent upwards of, $10,000?
Yeah, in the last place.
Yeah, and that's something that you need to take care of pretty much right away. The heating system we already talked about, just filling it up with oil and making sure that the actual heating system's working before closing. So it could cost almost nothing, or it could be a new heating system that's heated.
I mean, how would that be a negotiate go?
Yeah, right now. With what? Well, so just like you guys, the oil tank was empty, so we couldn't test the heat. And what we ended up doing is just making it a requirement for the sellers to fill the oil tank, have it serviced, and be able to test for it to make sure it's functioning before closing. So that way, if there are any issues with the actual heating system, we'll be able to negotiate and have that taken care of before closing so the buyer's not on the hook.
Yeah, that's an easy thing for attorneys to add on to a bid.
Yes, so I would probably do that for you guys as well if you were my clients. So there are a few that I'm in between on though. Like the foundation crack again, it wasn't like a foundation issue, so I probably wouldn't negotiate for that. And other things like the asbestos, it's not crumbling, so it's not an active health issue. If you were finishing the basement, spending more time down there, or it was crumbling where it would get into the air, that's more of an active issue. I'd negotiate based off that. But with it just sitting there, most of the time they say the best thing to do is to leave it and stay away from it. So
it kind of depends on leverage. If we had more leverage and there was less offers on a table and we were like the only ones, then maybe we could ask for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you were the only offer or it was sitting on the market for a while, we're going to add to that list. What I'm focusing on right now is kind of the essentials, something that we would pretty much never look away from. Pending the situation, if it's been sitting, you have a lot more room to negotiate. If there were, say, 5 or 10 other offers and you know it's competitive, you might want to really focus on the most important things.
Yeah.
We talked about what we can negotiate on, what can't we negotiate?
Yeah, so obviously, like this stuff you can see during the showing, like for example, the old window or windows in the basement. You like everybody can see it, and you cannot negotiate because obviously you will need to replace them. Maybe like the railings as well. There's mentioned on there that there's no like a proper handrail, for example, or it's like they're moving. Also, like you cannot negotiate probably because it's easy fix. Double wired breakers, but it's a super common thing. It's like almost in every house. Is super easy fix, and so also like probably will not even include in the list for negotiations. The same with GFCI protected outlets. A lot of houses should have them, especially in the kitchens, and they don't. And so also is super easy fix, and probably you will not be able to negotiate on this stuff.
If the leverage were different, would you negotiate those items?
Yes, I mean you can, and I actually have done it like in the past. Like if you're the only one buyer and there are no other offers, and your client really concerned about this, like electrical stuff, and most inspectors actually marking them like as sometimes like a potential issue, fire hazard, or so. Definitely, if like there is just a big concern from the clients, yeah, so it's an easy fix. So usually sellers also open to fix this.
What about the handrail?
Handrail, I've never done it before and actually never asked to do it. Like everybody understand that this is super easy fix. Some people don't even care about this. This is more like a convenience, or it also depends like in if they have children or not. Sometimes they children. Now this, your house, like the home inspector mentioned, the banisters, like they are like too wide and the child can like, stuck between them. And so like there is a specific thing, he mentioned like 10 inches, should be like less than 10 inches. That might be like, create potential issue if they have like little kids. So it depends on the client as well.
It also depends on the financing, because most of the time I wouldn't negotiate those things. They're very easy to do. But for example, FHA and VA, a lot of times they will require that to be installed for the railing before you can close. So in those cases, you have a lot more leverage on the seller just to take care of it. So I'd say much more commonly you see it there, but not in a regular home inspection for, say, someone doing conventional financing.
I've had to install my fair share of handrails just to get a deal across.
Yep. What are a couple of different ways that these can be negotiated? What are some of the outcomes here?
As a buyer's agent, one of the things you could do is ask the seller to fix the problem. You could also ask for credit towards closing cost, or ask the sale price to be adjusted to make things right. And if no one's able to negotiate, you could also walk away from the deal.
When it comes to inspections, there's a huge list that can be super overwhelming, not only for the buyers, but also, sometimes for the listing agents, and sometimes for the sellers. So one of the most important parts of my process that I work with people that are purchasing homes is making a list of like the top 5 or the top 7 most, critical portions that have to do with the system, the health, or the structure of the home. And we kind of tackle it that way. So we're not giving the listing side a list of 20 items, which people that are selling their homes can get really emotional and very overwhelmed. So really just narrowing it down to the top 5, top 7 items that your buyers are really concerned with, and then kind of tackling it from there. Again, you are buying a used product. You're not getting a brand new home where everything is new, shiny, and perfect. There are going to be some things that we put on what we call like the honey-do list. Honey, can you do this? But what we need the seller to really focus on to make the deal move forward.
Yeah, you keep adding like item 9, 10, and 11, then
it's just
the sales might just say no.
Yeah, no, it gets a little crazy sometimes. So really, let's talk about the things that are the most important and the most concerning to you that would make you, if you really felt like these were taken care of in whatever way we, determined with the seller, you'd be comfortable moving forward with the purchase and make you feel confident the day that you sit down at the closing table and purchase your new home.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because we're in New England. There are a lot of homes that are older, and you're going to run into used systems, used parts of the house. So the most important thing is you're not going to be getting brand new systems. You can't negotiate to get a heater replaced because it's older, or a roof replaced because it's older. As long as it's functioning and doing the job, that's something that you should take into consideration with the offer and the price that you give initially, and just budget accordingly, right? Those things could last much longer than expected, or they could go in a month from now. So it's just about being prepared and expecting that to happen eventually.